Silvie Recollection Slime Sovereign is here! Hi, I am Eva, and I have the tremendous opportunity of introducing this colorful new addition to Grand Archive TCG. The Recollection will be out for you all to enjoy May 17th, 2024. If you don't already know, Grand Archive is a trading card game with Western game design and anime-style art. It's an amazingly fun game that I feel like has something to offer for everybody, whether you're a TCG beginner, or you're looking for a high competitive skill ceiling, or even if you're a collector. I can't recommend GA enough. Alright, so Silvie Recollection Slime Sovereign is part of the first wave of this brand new Recollection series, alongside Tristan Shadowdancer. It's a convenient bundle that has everything you need to start playing right out of the box, including a pre-constructed deck and the accessories for it. The power level of these decks, I'd say, is much higher than a starter deck, and in comparison, closer to a typical constructed deck, though it of course could use some upgrades to be competitive. This Silvie Recollection has 21 exclusive cards that are currently not found in any of Grand Archive's main sets. Playstyle-wise, this is a Tamer class deck, a mid-range archetype that relies on deploying allies to defeat your opponent and protect your own champion. As you make your way up to level 3, you'll be able to call upon some stronger allies to your battlefield. This particular deck revolves all around cards with the Slime type. First, let's take a peek at what kind of Silvie goodies are inside the beautiful Silvie-themed box. It's made from a quite durable premium cardboard and stays shut magnetically. Inside, we have this Silvie gorgeous artwork. We have Silvie sleeves, 100 of them, matte finish made by Dragon Shield. We have a Silvie damage counter, very exciting as these are the first official damage counters from GA. We have Silvie art dividers to help keep your cards organized within your deck box. And of course, we have a Silvie pre-constructed deck with a 60-card main deck and 12-card material deck. This main deck is built so that some cards only come in copies of 2 or 3, even though the maximum you can have in a main deck is 4. And so also provided is the rest of those playsets so that you'll have 4 copies of each card in total. And lastly, some bonus gacha. It will come with 3 special Recollection Mercurial Heart booster packs, in which you have a chance to pull a collector's signature rare of Silvie Slime Sovereign or Tristan Shadowdancer. The other cards in those packs will be from the set Mercurial Heart. Now, let's talk about the cards and deck. The star of the show, Silvie Slime Sovereign, is a new level 3 Silvie champion with the Terra element. This card has Silvie lineage, meaning it must level up from another Silvie champion. Then, on enter, the next slime ally you activate this turn costs 2 less to activate and enters the field with 2 additional buff counters on it. Each buff counter will give a unit 1 additional power and 1 additional life. And the last part of Silvie's ability is, ignore the elemental requirements of advanced element slime cards you activate. The advanced elements in this deck being Terra, Crux, Arcane, and Luxem. Now, you may be saying, this product advertised that we'd explore Silvie's friendship with slimes of every color, not just advanced elements. And so I present to you the new Level 0 Spirit of Slime. It is a Norm element champion with, on enter, draw 7 cards. Then Inherited effect, meaning this ability stays active even after you level up. Ignore the elemental requirements of basic element slime cards you activate. The basic elements being fire, wind, and water. From there, you'll level up into the level 1 Silvie, Wild's Whisperer, which will give a buff counter to the first animal or beast ally you activate that turn. Then, level 2 Silvie with the pack, which will draw you cards depending on if you still have animal and/or beast allies on the field. And finally, you arrive at level 3 Silvie Slime Sovereign. As for the rest of the 12-card material deck, you'll find some Tamer Regalia basics such as Beastbond Ears, Beastbond Paws, Life Essence Amulet, and Bauble of Mending. This basic toolkit has some options to help you gain a level, draw a card when your ally dies if it's your opponent's turn, protect an ally, and boost the power of an ally as well as give it True Sight, which means it can target sneaky units that have stealth. A fun new card type we're seeing in this Recollection is the Food type. Yes, you can feed your slime some key slime pudding to gain buff counters. Another new Regalia item, Slime Nexus. You may banish this card so that the next slime ally you activate that turn costs 3 less to activate. There are also 2 items in the material deck that have the advanced element Terra, meaning you can't play these until you've unlocked Terra with your level 3 champion. Slime Totem is a powerful tool that gives your slime allies Vigor, meaning that in addition to waking up during your wake-up phase, they will also wake up during your end phase. It's great because this means that during your opponent's turn, your slimes will be up and ready to retaliate to any attacks and intercept or taunt to protect your champion, if they have those abilities. Finally, Verdant Scepter can also be a great resource. It has class bonus, so this ability is only enabled if your champion matches its class, in this case Tamer or Mage. Silvie is a Tamer, so you're good. On enter, you may banish a slime ally you control. If you do, put an amount of refinement counters on Vernon's Scepter equal to the banished ally's power, +1. Then, it has this ability that you can trigger. Rest this card to remove a refinement counter and put a buff counter on each of up to 2 slime allies you control, then draw a card. So you can do this every turn. You just need to say goodbye to one friend, and then afterwards you'll get a ton of value out of buff counters and card draws, if your opponent allows the game to run long. Moving on to the 60 card main deck. Firstly, we have the Easy Floating Memory package, which includes Idle Thoughts and Smack with Flute. You'll most likely want Floating Memory, as these are the cards that, if in your graveyard, can be banished to help pay for materializing any material deck cards, instead of randomly banishing from your memory zone. You'll get double the value out of these cards, and it'll help you control what cards you lose as you level up and bring out your regalia. You can have Silvie step in to whack an opponent for 1 damage using Smack with Flute and then gain 1 level for that turn. Or Idle Thoughts will allow you to rearrange the top 4 cards of your deck so you can get your key cards when you want them. Next, we have our basic element slimes, which you may already be familiar with. The blue slime, red slime, and green slime. You may notice that the red slime and green slime both say Pride 3 on them, while blue slime has Pride 4. This means that these creatures will not be obeying you unless your champion is the level of that number or above. If you don't hit the Pride requirement, they can't attack. But they can retaliate if your opponent attacks them first. Blue slime will gain a buff counter each time it takes damage. Green slime will come in with 2 buff counters, then when it leaves the field, by dying or by other means, it transfers those buff counters onto another ally you control. And red slime is a little destructive menace that when it dies, deals damage to every other ally, including all of your own, equal to its power, which has a base of 3. Can be devastating for certain opponents, but play at your own risk. And if you thought those slimes were cute, wait till you get a load of the baby slimes. They all have a lot of utility. I really like these cards. Baby blue slime will help protect your other slimes by preventing 2 damage dealt to them. Any kind of damage, which is really nice. Baby red slime is not to be overlooked, dealing 2 or potentially 3 damage, and has an effect a little similar to that of Hasty Messengers, where you can discard a card into graveyard and then draw a new card, though into your memory zone. It helps with sculpting your perfect hand and also some strategies that look at what's in your graveyard. More on those later. Baby green slime, when it enters the field, will suppress an item or weapon. To suppress something means that it will be temporarily banished and will return at the next end phase. It also has class bonus, fast activation. Typically, allies can only be played at slow speed during your main phase, but this little guy can swoop in whenever you have opportunity to play cards. One example, if you're about to go to Silvie level 2 and still need an animal on the board for that extra draw, shove him onto the field at the end of your opponent's turn. What can they do about it? Hopefully nothing. And baby gray slime is a norm element slime that can protect you and replaces itself by drawing a card. It has intercept, meaning that if it's awake and your opponent declares an attack on your champion, you can have baby gray slime take the damage instead. Oh, this deck has buff counters galore. Again, each buff counter will give a unit +1 power and +1 life, making it stronger and more resilient. Here we have another food item card, Forest Cake, which can be sacrificed for a buff counter and draws a card on enter. Remember that you can activate it and leave it on your field until you're ready to use it, so if you have nothing better to play, you might want to just throw this down. If you like, use baby green slime to suppress a forest cake you have lying around. Then when it re-enters the field, you'll get the on enter draw a card again. Limitless Slime is a fun new ally. Once your champion reaches level 1, it will have floating memory. When you hit level 2, Limitless Slime gets +1 power and +2 life. Then when you're level 3, Limitless Slime will give itself a buff counter every time it attacks. Whoa. And Slime's Blessing is an awesome card. It says, choose up to 3 units. Put a level counter on each chosen champion and a buff counter on each chosen slime ally. If you're very observant, you might notice Slime's Blessing is a wind card. Spirit of Slime only enables you to play norm element cards and slime cards of any basic elements. Yes, introducing Slime Skills. This may not be a slime ally, but it is a slime card. You can now cast slime spells with Slime Shield. It will prevent 3 damage from being dealt to a target unit. Unit includes allies and champions, so it is an option for protecting Silvie as well. But if you choose a slime ally, you can put, you guessed it, a buff counter on it. Song of Nurturing is a tamer staple card that can give all your allies +2 life and +1 power for 1 turn. Gather Slimes, not at all related to the ability of gathering herbs, is a slime skill that can help Silvie heal up some damage and hopefully find a slime friend from your deck to put into your hand. And here's another fun one, Slime Eruption. If you like the card Erupting Rhapsody, here, have more of that. You may banish any amount of Fire Element Slime ally cards and up to 2 non-Fire Element Slime ally cards from your graveyard. For each card banished this way, choose a unit and deal 1 damage to it. All of your slime friends that are dead can come back and be flung at your enemies. And then the card also has floating memory. There are some neat tricks you can do with this card since it allows you to choose any unit to do damage to, including your own. If you want to poke your own blue slime, which gains a buff counter each time it takes damage, you can. If you're ready to activate the bomb and want to zap your red slime to wipe out the board, the more power to you. Finally, let's look at the advanced element slimes. Like Slime Eruption, Slime King, which is a Terra element slime, also cares about what's in your graveyard. As an additional cost to activate this card, banish 3 slime ally cards, each with different elements from your graveyard. Then, when Slime King leaves the field, whether by dying or being suppressed, you may put any number of the slime ally cards banished by Slime King onto the field under your control. The word put means that those allies land on the field without you having to pay their costs. They are not being activated. You just get free creatures. It's great. An interesting trick with this card, it is a unique ally, meaning that only 1 card called Slime King can be on your field at any given time. So if you play another Slime King, the first one will be forced to die, meaning it will leave the field, friends unleashed. Additionally, it has Pride 4 and Taunt. Taunt means that if that unit is awake and your opponent wants to attack something on your field, they must target the taunting unit for their attack. Thankfully, Taunt is a static ability that doesn't require the unit to obey you, so even if you aren't level 4 to hit the Pride 4, as long as Slime King is awake, it will still taunt. Now check out Storm Slime, the Arcane Element Slime. It has a pretty neat synergy with the last 2 cards we talked about. On enter, as a spell, deal damage to target unit equal to the number of slime cards, get this, in your banishment. The as a spell part simply means that this cannot target units that have Spell Shroud. But yes, no matter whether your slime friends have left you for the graveyard or the banishment, they will always have your back. However, it also means there are additional pools of resources you may need to consider as you're playing. How many slimes do you want to banish from your graveyard? How many slimes do you still need in there? And when Storm Slime dies, it will also let you banish 2 cards from your memory, then draw 2 new cards, but into your hand. We also have another Terra Element Slime in Verdant Slime. It also has Taunt, and on enter, destroy up to 1 target Regalia with memory cost 0. If you don't, put 2 buff counters on Verdant Slime. Ethereal Slime is the Crux Element Slime, which has, on enter, you may banish a Tamer card from your material deck. If you do, draw a card and put a buff counter on Ethereal Slime. Notably, it also has True Sight and Stealth. Plus, if you hit level 5, prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to Ethereal Slime. This beautiful slime will likely be difficult for your opponent to deal with. And finally, Lustrous Slime is the Luxem Element Slime, and it gets buff counters for each slime card revealed from your memory in true Luxem fashion. It has Taunt and a big base body of 5 life. Then, if it dies, it will also heal you for the amount of buff counters that was on it. And that's what comes in the Silvie Slime Sovereign deck. Lots of fun and lots of flavor in this one deck. Now, let's talk a bit about strategies and some options for upgrading the deck. Shout out to my playtest partners, Fome and Andrew, who notably has been a Silvie main since the early days of Grand Archive. Both their insights were extremely helpful, thank you. With the pre-constructed deck as is, your goal will most likely be to get your allies onto the field with buff counters, keeping them there with your defensive tools that also in turn strengthen them, and using Intercept and Taunt to guard your champion. You'll want to reach level 3 to be able to slam down your big advanced element slimes, which all put in a lot of work doing damage and protecting you. But you may not want to turbo get to level 3 as fast as possible, since you'll lose too many cards in the process early and struggle with stabilizing. Let's illustrate an example play sequence. Say we go first, we'll draw 7 for Spirit of Slime. I'll simply throw down Forest Cake, which draws a card, and pass. This sets you up perfectly to get extra buff slimes next turn without going negative on cards. For turn 2, we'll pay 1 memory cost to level up into Silvie level 1 to start getting our class bonuses enabled. Baby Gray Slime is a great choice, so let's send forth that slime. With Silvie's ability, this will enter with a buff counter, and by banishing Forest Cake, you will get yet another buff counter. Then with Baby Gray Slime's ability, you can reveal 2 slime cards from hand or memory to draw a card. It's now a 2-cost 3/3 ally with Intercept that draws a card. That's some serious value. Now we can pass while still holding up enough cards to play Slime Shield or Slime's Blessing, both great defensive cards. Baby Gray is attacked, we protect it with Slime Shield, and hooray, it gets another buff counter, making its retaliation now slap back for 4 damage. We're going to be a bit patient before going to Silvie level 2, I'll grab the Key Slime Pudding. Green Slime is a solid choice here as your opponent will be discouraged from attacking it and moving its buff counters onto another ally on death, but also it's great if it lives. Silvie level 2's ability ideally wants both an animal and a beast on board. It now has 3 buff counters total as we let it have Key Slime Pudding as a little treat. Again, we've left enough cards in hand to play Slime's Blessing, which will now give 2 of my slimes a buff counter and gives Silvie a level counter. With both an animal and beast on board, let's go to Silvie level 2 and draw 2 cards, 1 for each ally type. The Limitless Slime is a cool new slime. Silvie is technically now level 3 due to the level counter from earlier, so we get all of its nifty abilities enabled. Floating Memory, has a total of 2 power and 3 life, and every time it attacks, it will gain a buff counter. Alright, let's do some fun level 3 stuff. The first slime we play this turn will cost 2 less to activate and gets 2 extra buff counters. We'll unleash Ethereal Slime for free. For its unenter, we'll banish a Tamer card from the Mercurial deck in order to draw a card and put a buff counter on it. Now it'll have 3 buff counters. And look what we drew! Storm Slime is a pretty cool payoff. On enter, it counts the number of slime cards in your banishment and deals that much damage to any target unit. So our opponent will suddenly take 6 to the face from that. And ideally, they also take a pounding from all of your buff slime friends. This is obviously just one example in play pattern, and of course you'll need to adapt your strategy to deal with different matchups. Intercept and Taunt may not protect you at all from opponents that can just one-shot kill you with spell damage, for example, Riot and Merlin. So in those cases, you may want to play more aggressively, put down more allies to pressure them rather than holding up cards for defenses like I did in the example. Let's consider some potential upgrades for the deck. Here's an example deck list that we liked, which we felt still followed the identity and playstyle of the original Slime Sovereign deck. In the Material deck, there's Grand Crusader's Ring for an extra card draw. Tithe Proclamation is kind of interesting, takes 1 memory cost but draws a card to replenish. It will limit both your and your opponent's draws to just 3 per turn, which will most likely hinder your opponent more than yourself. A neat trick is to use Baby Green Slime to suppress Tithe Proclamation, temporarily banishing it, then when it re-enters the field you will draw another card. Gaia's Blessing is a Terra element regalia which allows you to activate animal and beast ally cards straight off the top of your deck, effectively giving you a larger hand, if you hit. Additionally, this card can be cheated out during your main phase instead of waiting for your materialized phase. It says you may banish 4 animal and/or beast ally cards from your graveyard to activate this card, which also synergizes with Storm Slime. Then for the main deck, we added 3 allies that all have Taunt, which will be able to protect your other allies and champion. Bedivere upon dying will also gift all of your animal and beast allies a buff counter, if you've reached the level 3 requirement. Stalwart Shieldmate has Taunt and Floating Memory, easy. And Academy Guide, okay, it doesn't actually have Taunt, but it might as well. If she sticks on the field, you'll get a discount on leveling up, which is huge. Bonus, she has the Animal type, so you can benefit from Silvie's level 1 and level 2 abilities. Of course, there are lots of different ways you can explore playing with the cards that come in this collection. You can certainly have fun with it. Make a whole build around a certain slime or combo you like. Change the champion spirit so that you start out as fire, wind, or water and get a bunch of other options there. The world is your slime. Definitely feel free to share in the comments what sort of slimy brews you're interested in or trying out. Please enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. Head over to Maindeck's channel to get all the magnificent deets about the Tristan Re collection, Shadowdancer. Dan is one of the very best and will get you all prepared to slice and dice using that deck. Other places you can find me, I'm on a podcast called Talk GA where we talk about anything and everything Grand Archive, and my main channel is where I do singing covers. That is all for now. Parting words. As Silvie once famously said, "It's slimin' time!" Both Recollections and Mercurial Heart are out May 17th, 2024. Happy sliming to you all!